We are live. Do you hear us? Yeah, I got a confirmation. Hi, Michał. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Now, this is a typical delay that we would expect from a AI model, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, 5 seconds or something. That was typical up until
Monday.
Yeah, I would say.
Maybe because we will be talking about how it's possible, how to make something similar today, and maybe what are the constraints when building systems like that.
Yeah.
But let's maybe, before we start, I would like to welcome everyone. Maybe could we get a confirmation that our audience is seeing, hearing us, and maybe seeing as well? Okay, we are getting confirmation. Awesome. So before we start, maybe we should talk a little bit about our trip that we did recently.
We recently returned from our trip to San Francisco.
And how do you feel about that trip?
I was kind of on the edge between San Francisco and Silicon Valley. To what to say? How do I feel? It was amazing. It was so inspiring. It's like packed with ambitious people, and yeah, you sometimes you get to experience that in Europe, but that's like on special occasions, like conferences or so.
Yeah,
and in San Francisco, it's like that every day. Every single day, you get 2-3 events that you can attend just in the AI area.
Yeah, it was very intense, amazing. Very intense period. So I think during those 4 or 5 weeks, we did a lot.
Yeah.
And we met a lot of people, and we'll be discussing this as well during this live. Some crazy stories, but maybe we'll tell them later. And we've been meeting with some people that are working on some things that we'll be showing today. And then we are preparing this live, right?
But maybe let's. What's the purpose of our trip to the US?
Yeah,
at all.
You're right. Maybe we should discuss a little bit that. So the idea was to be close to where the innovation happens, right? To meet all those people because it seems that San Francisco, Silicon Valley is back again, in a sense that people are returning to San Francisco. It used to be, people were leaving because it's a pretty expensive city to live still. But they're getting back, and they are
so it's
attracted by
like a circle, right?
Yeah, like a circle, because there's like a lot of hype, I would say, but in a positive sense around AI. A lot of new companies are being created. A lot of people working on very interesting stuff.
Lots of excitement around this. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So during our trip we recorded like, I don't know, 20 maybe vlogs, right?
Yeah. Some of them were pretty cringy, I would say, but still, it was nice to record them. And we've been working on So the idea, you asked what was the purpose, and we wanted to like be with those people, see what they are building, maybe help or like contribute as well. And I think we did. We participated not only in events, but meetups. But we had pleasure to do 4 or 5 hackathons as well, right?
Yeah, we did a few and built some really, really cool stuff. Actually, to be honest, I never participated in a hackathon before.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
It was never, the idea of a hackathon was really not appealing to me at all. Like spending whole day or 2 days, getting dirty, getting tired, like all sweaty, not sleeping. It sounded just bad. But in this case, it was really, really fun.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to hype like San Francisco too much, but I've participated in many hackathons in US and Europe and in Poland. And I think the energy levels are different. Like hackathon,
just difference of culture. I'd
maybe
say.
different of culture, but it's also the fact that I would say that, it could be seen as negative, but San Francisco attracts the best people. And when you run a hackathon and you talk with people, you see that they are very motivated and they know a lot. And it's a very intensive and a very interesting environment to be in, for me at least.
Yeah, and these best people, they create this kind of atmosphere that you also want to aspire to be the best when you're just around them.
Yeah,
So,
there was something like that. Yeah. So you're this saying like you're an average of the people that are around you, right? So if you're around great people, yeah. But maybe this is like more philosophical.
But what we also did is you mentioned that we met with some people related to the tools that we'll be talking about today.
Mhm.
But we also recorded 10 amazing interviews.
Yeah, and we only published 2 of them, right? 2 or 3.
Yeah. So we'll be publishing them, and if you sign up on our newsletter mailing list, that you will get access to it first. Before anyone else.
I must say it was pretty crazy, especially the one with Groq, right? I'm not sure if we talked about Groq last time before our trip to US.
Yeah, we talk about Groq every time.
Yeah, because it's fast and it's great, and Inference is like the future, I think. But we met one of the general managers at Groq, and then when we were preparing for the recording, somebody else came into the room. It was CTO of Groq.
Yeah.
And we had like a long discussion, like I don't know,
very technical,
super technical,
low level.
Yeah, it was pretty
very
crazy.
Cool. Yeah,
we were joking that it reminded me a little bit of the Silicon Valley TV show, like pretty unusual. Yeah, so we recorded this interview. It's please check it out if you're interested. Sunny Madra, and then we also did one with Damon Murphy, the hackathon from Deepgram. Yeah, and today we'll be talking a lot about Deepgram
and Groq
and voice analysis, I should say, or building voice speech language models, as they call them now, SLM. I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that for a couple of weeks now.
Interesting.
It's no longer about LLMs; it's about SLMs. SLM.
So who made it up?
Yeah, it's changing so fast. Everything is changing so fast, and maybe we should say that. So we are preparing a course about AI, right?
Yeah. 0to1AI.com.
And we had some ideas before we went to San Francisco about the shape, about the format of this course. But now we decided to adapt to this pace, right? Because it's very
verify. Yeah. Basically, our ideas were verified by the people in Silicon Valley.
And maybe some like a note, because when we talked with CTO of Groq, he told us that he thinks that New York City is 6 months lagging.
Yeah, behind
San Francisco. Yeah. So, which was pretty crazy to me. So I imagined how far is Europe and Poland in that case. And yesterday we met with Grzegorz Kosakowski, which was a lead of AI lead
at
Stripe, and he was working with many other companies before in US. And he told us that he thinks that I'm not sure. Maybe he's watching, but he said something like 3 to 5 years. That's the difference for Poland. With
this
so it's pretty interesting
of difference. Yeah,
and so there was this event Aula, and there was like a question from the audience: what's this lacking in Polish founders and like in European founders in general compared to US founders? And he was trying to, but that's maybe topic for another time. But today so I was talking about the course, and we need to adapt it in a way, right? Because it's changing so fast. And today we'll be talking a lot about what OpenAI showed on Monday.
Yeah.
And how we will compare and contrast it with what we are preparing to show you today.
So the content is changing so fast that it's hard to follow.
It could be hard to follow, but in a way I would say it's evolving. And I like that because it's like, it's converging for me in a way that you see certain topics and it seems we are getting there through different paths. But you can see the goal. It's just that now it's a bit messy, the situation. And I think you phrased it pretty well when we were talking behind the scenes, let's say, that I think the next 6 weeks would be pretty chaotic, pretty messy. And then I think there will be some kind of like maybe a little pause.
We'll see about that.
We'll see, yeah. So we want to adapt to that. So we'll be like, I don't know, doing some stuff to make for those people who want to join us for the course, for this journey. We want to make some changes to reflect what we learned in Silicon Valley and San Francisco.
And it's both changes to or adapting the content as well as the form of the course, actually. So we want to make it more cutting edge, even more.
Yeah, more cutting edge and more, I would say, beneficial or fulfilling for people who will join us.
Yep.
So that you are kind of like, you have the information from the, let's say, maybe not firsthand, but I don't know, we will try to transfer what we learned, basically,
Exactly.
in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, well said. Well said.
Yeah. So that's our goal. Just wanted to mention that. So let's maybe switch a little bit the gears and let's talk about OpenAI and what they showed on Monday before we start coding our solution.
Yeah.
So the topic for this live is about creating voice agents, voice chatbots, or like having this conversations, human-like conversation with AI, right?
And until that day, or maybe there were some attempts before, but generally it was only possible via text.
Yeah.
Until recently.
Yeah, the text was the main medium, let's say, main.
Yeah, but why? Why would it be the main medium?
Because it's easier, it's smaller, it requires less bandwidth, right?
Yeah, I mean those are technical reasons. But if you ask, I don't know, John from I don't know a farmer, what would be his like native, most intuitive way to communicate?
That
probably
would be
wouldn't
voice.
be texting; it would be voice.
Exactly, voice. So one of the hackathons we participated in, the title of the hackathon was Voice AI, right? And the idea was that voice is the most natural. I would even say that voice is more natural than image or than video in a way.
Sure.
Even if it doesn't sound that, because with voice you can transfer a lot, not only the information but emotions, right? We'll be talking about emotions today as well, and you can, you can complement it with gestures as well. This is the image part, but the voice is like very natural, and you can always like start talking, and AI can listen all the time and like help you with the tasks or like anything. So I think we can agree that we think, sorry, that voice is the future of AI.
Yeah, and it's funny because we said that before the OpenAI event.
Yeah,
and then OpenAI like revealed the changes to the model.
Yeah, but we kind of, I wouldn't say we knew what OpenAI will show, but there was this like kind of sentiment in Silicon Valley that everyone was talking about voice, right, for a reason. And I think people sense that the voice is the next step. And as always, up to now, OpenAI was first to deliver something, like showed something. But we will talk about details. Is it really already there, or we need to wait a little bit more for that to happen? Yeah, so maybe, I don't know, I don't want to like be too boring. We're already talking about 10 minutes. We've been talking for 10 minutes now. Let's maybe talk about voice, and let's maybe show one of the examples that OpenAI showed on Monday. And let's maybe try to analyze it, what happens here. I'm not sure if we are ready to play the video. We are ready, okay. So if my screen is visible, I will just play a short video. This is the blog post by OpenAI that they released. This is the new model. And they are showing the interaction, voice interaction with the
with
ChatGPT.
Yeah. So we picked just one of the videos to show you very quickly for people who didn't see it.
Yeah, just to maybe set the conversation. Let's see what happens here.
Hey, ChatGPT, could you count from 1 to 10 for me, please?
Of course. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, actually, that's a little slow. Could you count faster?
Sure thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's enough. And I want to focus on two things here. The first thing is latency, and the second thing is the interruptions. Both of those things happened in this video. So let's maybe talk about latency first.
So typical latency, because we would need to maybe take a step back and think about how the processing of this happened before the event of OpenAI. So typically, you would need to first, obviously record the voice, send it to some kind of model. That model would transcribe it to text. Then another model would take the text and then prepare a response, also in a text format, usually. And then you would use some kind of tool of text-to-speech to generate voice, and then send it back to the browser again.
So we have 3 or maybe 5 steps.
Yeah, depending on how you count.
Yeah, so we can say that we are sending the binary file, like the audio, to the let's say to the browser in our case. Then it's transcribed, as you say. That's the second step. The third step is we are interacting with LLM this time.
Yeah.
Or like up till now, LLMs were the most popular way. And then the response is, as you say, transcribed to speech, and speech is sent back. That's the fifth, the last step to the user. And all that needs to happen very fast.
But even if it's fast, we'll see how fast we can get. But even if it's fast, it still adds up. I mean, there are a lot of steps that need to happen. Like even if it takes 200 milliseconds for each of them, if there are 5 steps, it's still 1 second of a delay.
Exactly. Right? And in this blog post, OpenAI claims that they are under 300 milliseconds, right? And that's something that feels very natural. But when we watch this video, it seems a little bit longer than 300 milliseconds for me.
Especially in when he asked the second command.
Yeah.
Like when he says that it was a bit too fast, can you do it a bit slower? Because it's a longer sentence, probably, I'm guessing.
And there's also the interruption part, which is also important, which is not like a trivial to implement. But we'll be talking about that when we start coding. So yeah, and all that needs to happen very fast. And another, I think, interesting point is that if you manage to do all that, what you described, those 5 steps, let's say, in under 1 second, you can have almost exactly what happens here.
Yeah, almost human-like interaction.
Yeah, almost human-like interaction. And 1 second, it's a good approximation.
Yeah, I would say it's a good benchmark also for any kind of solution that you implement.
But this is what was possible up till now, up till what OpenAI presented. But what's different is that OpenAI introduced this like a new model, which is called Omni, which is multimodal, which means that it's not only trained on text, but it's trained on the actual audio data and actual image data.
Yep.
So this way, we have 5 steps, but we can reduce those steps. We don't need to transcribe. We can directly send the audio to the model, right?
Yeah, we can squash the 3 steps inside into one.
Exactly.
So we send audio in and then we get audio out. So there is no transcription either way, text to speech or speech to text.
Exactly. So this way we can greatly reduce latency. And what's interesting is that maybe we are like jumping from one topic to another, but this like a 5-step approach is like one second, right? What we described.
Yeah.
And we've seen some people on Twitter, and we met also some people that were achieving even less than 1 second on average.
Some claim even 500 milliseconds.
Exactly, which is with this old approach, let's say, with just the LLM, with just a model which is not trained on audio or video. But now there are new open source models that happen to imitate this approach that OpenAI showed.
Yeah.
So one of them is called Vercel. And let me just show you. Yeah. So this is the blog post that was introducing it, and it was introduced in March, right? So it's like 2 months 2 months ago almost. And already it was working. It's a pretty interesting read. I recommend to check it out. And you can also use the model. It's on Hugging Face. And there is also recently someone released the trainer, so you can train as well that if you have the infrastructure. So there is Gazelle. But before, maybe because now we are talking about some details, we wanted to show you some interesting use cases for that, and one of them is this ad. And let me play that. There is this company called Bland AI, and they have this banner. I'm not sure if it's in San Francisco but you can. I hope you see this. Yeah, I got a confirmation, and I will play.
You can call the number. Actually, you see on the billboard.
You can call this number, and this is what happens.
Talk to a bot.
For businesses and in any voice. What's your name?
My name's Mike. What's your name?
Nice to meet you, Mike. I'm Bland. I guess you're calling since you saw our billboard, right?
Yeah, I am.
Great. Well, I guess I should tell you a bit more about myself. I can be programmed to do sales, customer support, or really any type of phone call. What sounds interesting to you, Mike?
You know, sales sounds pretty interesting, but I'm curious if you could tell me more about yourself.
Well, I'm an and I can handle all sorts of phone calls for businesses. I've got a bit of a stutter, but I try to keep things casual and fun.
All right. Thank you, Glenn. That's good. You have a good day now.
Yeah, so that's the video that shows again two things happen here. Low latency. The person asks a question and almost immediately
quite low, yeah.
Yeah, quite low, maybe a little bit on the higher side, let's say. And there's interruption part as well. So you can interrupt, and the, let's say, voice chat will adapt. The AI will adapt to the changes. And some of those voice chats also remember have the previous context. So
yeah, of course,
you are like talking, and all what you said and what was responded is like kept in a memory of sort, and then it's used to so it's almost feels like human. What OpenAI showed is all
even closer.
Yeah,
to
even
that.
closer, even better.
Yeah, but what OpenAI actually showed too was the emotions, because until now the bots typically they couldn't like imitate any kind of emotions, right? And OpenAI was able to.
Yeah,
and I don't think there are any other models that do that, open source models.
Yeah, I haven't seen up till now, but Deepgram has some emotion analysis, but it's
analysis, yeah.
But it's different. It's not the same, let's say, type of things. But I wanted to only just quickly mention a few other things, because when you saw, after seeing this demo by OpenAI, you could think that it's OpenAI only thing, but there's a lot of startups that happened before that were doing a kind of similar thing. And one of them is, I don't know how it's pronounced, Waypi, voice AI for developers, which is also very interesting, very low latency. We could maybe try it. I'm not sure if we have the technical capacity now, but let me try it. So it's initializing. I'll click allow.
Oh, hey, sorry, I must have dozed off for a second.
What's your name?
Welcome to Vapi. I'm an AI assistant that you can talk to like a person.
Okay. What's your name? Yeah, I think something broken.
Oh,
Yeah,
hey, sorry, I must have dozed off for a second there.
Live demos are the
Welcome
worst.
to Vapi.
Yeah.
I'm an AI assistant that you
Could
can
you-
talk to like a person.
Could you tell me a joke?
So, how's your day going?
Could you tell me a joke, or?
Of course. Here's a joke. Why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field.
So yeah, normally I think it works a little bit faster, but what's interesting is shows you the latency below. I'm not sure if you catch that, but I encourage you to try it on your own. And usually it's like a 600 milliseconds from what I've seen here, 700 milliseconds, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, but it sounded more.
Yeah, it showed me 1 second, 2000 when I just talked to it. So I don't know if maybe there's like, I don't know. It doesn't. It usually works better. And there's another thing I wanted to show you, which is this thing called, what is called? Retail AI. So there's like this company that allows you to build those like a voice agents. And it's also, I won't be showing it, but it's the demo is also open. You can just.
What's the difference from the one on the billboard?
Yeah, so I think the one on the billboard is more like oriented for the business people, and here it's more about like creating the actual bot, or maybe they are similar. I haven't like really checked like the business side of those startups. But nice thing is that you can do the same. You can get the call, and it will like call you, and you can talk with it. Latency is very low, and then you can interrupt the this voice agent, and it's pretty impressive. And those companies existed like longer before OpenAI showed those things, and they are also working on reducing their latency, even if they use this like older approach, which is not training on directly on audio. Yeah, so let's maybe get back to our coding now. So today we wanted to show you how to build something similar to what you see here and what OpenAI showed. And we'll be using 3 things. The first thing would be Deepgram, which is the tool that allows you to transcribe speech to text and also text to speech. So we'll be using it on the edges of our like pipeline, let's say.
And also, it has so many other features that we'll briefly talk about
Exactly. So we'll be talking about interruptions, about
sentiment analysis,
and those things that
other things.
Damian Murphy mentioned to us, that when you talk,
utterances.
yeah, exactly. It's called utterances. When you talk, you can like have some like a moment to gather your thoughts, and you after a short delay, you start talking again, and Deepgram is able to catch that and like construct a whole phrase out of that. And yeah, so that's on the edges of our pipeline, and in the middle of our pipeline we have two things. We have Groq, which is just like an inference engine, a chip, cloud solution as well.
In this case, yeah.
But you can also build, you can buy a Groq rack.
Yeah.
So if you want,
we should order one.
Yeah, we should order one. It's only 20K per or something
per server, or something.
Yeah. And we have also, we'll be using Llama 3, which is Groq supports different models, different open source models, and one of the most recent and most let's say among those open source, Llama 3 is the most interesting one.
Yeah,
I would say.
It was said to be very close to GPT 3.5, right? Or 4, something like that.
Yeah, GPT
in between, I think. So it's good enough for our use case.
It's good enough. And what else? Yeah, and that'll be all. And we'll be trying to aim to go below 1 second, because we think that's good enough for like a kind of imitate human interaction. But even with this older approach, which is not training audio, I repeat that, but just to be clear, we've seen people that can go as low as 500, right?
Yeah, but we'll talk maybe at the end on what kind of techniques can be used to improve it even further, because we don't want to get into more technical.
And before we start coding, I wanted also to mention one thing, because OpenAI mentioned that, first of all, this voice agent will be available in a few weeks, only for selected partners, right? And my theory, my intuition tells me that OpenAI needs to have a lot of compute power.
Yeah, they need a lot of computers.
They need a lot of computers to handle a public access to this to those voice agents.
Like you said, using text for interacting with bots from technical perspective, it was obvious, because text is just easy. It's simple. The bandwidth required is low, and then for audio, it's probably a few magnitudes like higher, right?
And OpenAI is using those NVIDIA chips, which is H200, right? Okay. And they are mostly adapted, I would say, for training and not for inference. This is where Groq shines.
Yep.
So they need to find a way. I think they found a way to maybe reuse. I don't know exactly what they are doing, of course, but the inference is the next step, right? Because now we have most of the models are pretty good, and the training will become less and less, I would say, important. And more important would be how fast you can interact with those models, especially if you add audio or image.
Yeah, especially in case inference. Of multimodal. Yeah.
So on one hand we have training, which was up till now very important, and now from now on I think inference will get more importance. So that's maybe a question to the audience: how long do you think till we get access publicly to what OpenAI presented? I think it would be still pretty long.
I would also like to ask another question. How long do you think it would before an open source model appears that it's almost as good as the one that OpenAI showed?
The one we showed, Gazelle, shows amazing promise.
Shows promise, yeah.
Yeah, and I think and it was introduced in March.
Yeah,
we have in between nothing was presented, but I think people who created that were working on that, especially.
Or maybe they were hired by OpenAI.
No, they were not. But I think they could be have this. They can have this additional boost by the Monday presentation, right? Because now OpenAI showed that the voice is the focus, and maybe the image as well.
Yeah.
And
Ford focus.
And I think we should see in a couple of days a lot of interesting things can happen. So that's the idea. So with what we are showing you today, the code, you can build almost something like OpenAI showed us, and you can use it
very close to that.
Yeah, and you can use it now today.
with
instead of
open
waiting
source models.
with open source models on top of
You
that.
could even host it yourself, probably.
And it will be 2, maybe 3 times slower, right? Or if you use those additional techniques we mentioned at the end, it could be almost exactly as fast as OpenAI.
Yeah.
And and it can
But
build.
it's good enough.
It's good enough. Yeah, I think for most cases it would be good enough. So let's maybe switch to your computer now. And let's start building this application.
Yeah. Do you want to start from the end? I mean, show what's the
exactly
what's the product?
Yes. Let's maybe first, because we got some feedback after last lives that we are maybe we jumped too fast to coding. So let's maybe show the final product, final thing we are building.
Yeah. Okay. So the final thing that we are building is very simplistic. So it's just like you said, Llama 3, Groq, Deepgram, and personal voice assistant with memory. But actually, we will probably skip the memory part for today because we don't have enough time. So what it does right now is I can I could tell it something. Let's maybe try. Let's hope this works.
Fingers crossed.
It worked.
And it worked, and it showed that we are below 1 second, so 721 milliseconds actually on this part. So we actually added logging of the delays, latency here as well.
Could you ask something like ask the?
Could you ask something like, "I'm ready. What's the question?"
Tell me a joke.
Tell me a joke.
Here's one. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything.
So what's the latency?
1300, so 1300 milliseconds.
So it's pretty good, I would say. Yeah.
Pretty good. But Groq was a bit slower because probably we're getting rate limited.
Yeah.
It's something that we haven't thought before the live, actually.
Yeah, we've been testing before the live if it works, and maybe they have like this.
Maybe we made too many requests. But but maybe let's get into coding.
I asked Sunny, maybe Sunny is watching us, to increase the limits for us, and I hope he will. Also,
we should probably remember that those APIs are usually not distributed around the globe. So we are probably mostly hitting the service area in America, right? So the added latency, if we subtracted that, it's probably 100 milliseconds less, something like that, for each call.
Yeah. And still, we will show you, I mean, we will discuss some techniques that you can even really reduce that 1 second. So just for the record, 1 second, for us, it's good enough. And then we will also show you how to reduce that. Okay. So that's the final product. You can talk to it, and it just runs those voice commands on the Llama 3 model. How to build that?
Yeah, how to build that. So we already built that. So maybe I should go back in time a few commits. How do you say?
I cannot help you. I'm not good with computers.
How about we go back to initial commit?
Yeah, we could go back to initial commit, I think.
All right, we'll just reset to the initial commit, so there is no way back.
So let me just, I won't be showing anything, but I just need bigger screen. So yeah, this is a Next.js application, right?
Yeah. So we won't talk about bootstrapping Next.js applications again.
Yeah.
We are just using actually this is the boilerplate, the starter that comes from Deepgram,
yes.
right?
It's a recent one. It's very nicely done, I would say. It already transcribes. So when you say something, it will output text on the screen. So the first part in our pipeline we described is like a 5-step is already done. 2 first steps are done. So sending the audio to...
Yeah, it's doing that right now on the
Deepgram and then transcribing. So that's already comes with the boilerplate. And then we need to take this text now and simply send it to Groq, right?
Basically.
That's the...
But maybe before we do that, we can talk a bit more about Deepgram itself.
Yeah, exactly.
So because the starter kit had some code in it, so maybe you can go through the code very quickly.
Yes, it's
and talk about different options that we have here.
So what they did in the boilerplate is that they are connecting to the Deepgram client from client side, right? And they have this like a connect to Deepgram function.
So there is also some boilerplate around the microphone state. So we have to make sure the microphone is ready. We need to query the browser. The first time you run it, the browser will ask you if you allow for the microphone to be listened to. So it's a synchronous process. And then it's irrelevant actually. But so then when the microphone is ready, we can finally capture the sound. So what we do is we call the function called connect to Deepgram. It's as simple as that. And then we can provide model. There are a few different models to use, but we are using the latest one, which is Nova 2.
But this model has some declinations, let's say, or like variations, right? Because you can have Nova 2 dash conversations, right? Or
yeah, conversational AI. We can get to that. So there are specialized, like probably submodels.
Exactly. So the one that maybe should be used for a call center or something like that, or the one that when you can build something to make orders. Imagine that there is a restaurant and you want to like create a voice agent that can listen to maybe lower quality audio input. So that's possible, and there are variations. There are a couple of them, I think, 7 or 8, right? For specifically for Nova 2, the model they're using, and also another axis I would say is the language, because Nova 2 by default is English, but they also have like the languages for, I mean the variations, the models for other languages, like French, Polish, even, right? Like almost. So in that case, Deepgram is pretty, I would say, comprehensive. They provide a lot. That's the first thing, the model.
So I opened the documentation of Deepgram, and what I'm showing right now on the screen is the rate of errors that they present. And in case of Nova 2 is below 10%, it's 8.4% of errors made. So that's pretty good.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and then there are, like you said, there are different languages that we can use. Is there Polish? You said Polish? Yeah, there is Polish as well, obviously English. And then there are like specialties. So we can have the Nova 2 meeting, phone call, finance, conversational AI, voicemail, video, medical, drive-through, automotive, and custom, which is probably for custom models.
The drive-through is pretty funny, right? There's like, what's the difference between calling and drive-through?
Because you usually scream about food. I'm hungry. Give me chicken.
Yeah, but you can use that. So that's the model, and then we have like a bunch of interesting.
So we can use the conversational AI, I guess.
Yeah, we could try that
for this.
We for the demo here we used just a Nova 2, which is good enough. But we can switch and we can test it, and then there are like a bunch of options, and they are not clearly described, in my opinion, in the Deepgram documentation. I'm not saying that it's bad, because it's pretty awesome and comprehensive. But
when you have such a large documentation, it's a common problem that the discoverability of features is hard.
It's hard, yeah. And this is where Damian Murphy,
we are talking about that with him.
We have an interview with him. He's from Deepgram, and he just approached. I mean, we approached him during the hackathon, and he told us about some hidden features, which are, some of them are pretty interesting. I would say that the last two are pretty interesting. So utterance and MS and endpointing are pretty important when creating what we want to create today. So the idea is that, as I said at the beginning, when you talk and you have like a small pause, or you're like thinking about something, Deepgram is smart enough to concatenate and create like a phrase out of that, right? So there's like you're defining those delays, and it's a good idea if you plan to build something like that, to play with those two options,
parameters,
like,
yeah, utterances and MS, right? And
exactly, and then we also have like those filler words, right? So like and all that. And then also we are changing the output format, and
there is also this endpointing, right? So you mentioned this. Or?
Yeah, endpointing, exactly. It's 300.
Oops. Yeah.
So
And we also have smart format, which doesn't really change how it's transcribed. There's actually a page on documentation about that. It only changes how it's printed out back to you. So when you add smart punctuation before, smart punctuation is all lowercase letters, no commas, no like full stops, no nothing. And then after enabling it, Deepgram will try to do its best to
intelligently.
to add the capital letters, dots, commas, as well as change some of the numbers into digits when it thinks it's appropriate to do so.
And that's pretty much it. And after connecting, it will work. It will capture the voice and it will transcribe it. And this is pretty fast. Like really, this part, those two first steps, sending the audio and transcribing it, is super fast with Deepgram.
And when Deepgram is done transcribing it, there's plenty of code related to React here, so it's not really important. What it does, it calls the callback called onTranscript, right?
Yeah.
One of the events.
One of the events, yeah. So
and we get a few different fields. We can maybe talk about them for maybe short period of time. There are two important fields. One of them is final, another one is speech final, which is funny, quite.
So this is the sorry to interrupt you, but this is the utterance parameter, right? Yeah. Coming into play. So it tries to detect when a person stopped talking.
Yeah, exactly. So there is actually an example, in the docs, because what Deepgram allows you to do, it allows you to consume, like it kind of streams the response or calls the callback a few times, and you can consume the response even when it's not fully ready according to Deepgram. So for example, in this case, we can see it in the docs. Someone was speaking, so Deepgram first sent just first 2 words, then 5 words, then 7 words, and so on. And it set the parameters is final and is speech final in each of these cases to false, so that we know that it's not fully ready yet, but we can maybe display it to the user to give it some kind of feedback for better UX maybe. And then when the is final is true, then we know that Deepgram is done like formatting or understanding the words that were said, because sometimes it would make mistakes and then Deepgram goes back to the previous word and fixes it. So is final means that the piece that it's sending to you is done. And then when speech final is true, it means that someone stopped talking and every word is actually in the form that it's supposed to be. So we are sure that we are ready to process the text.
Exactly. And then we have, as a result, we are receiving this like a data object, which has a lot of properties. One of them is channel, and like you have some alternatives and then the actual transcript. But on top of that, we won't be showing that today, but you can also, in the parameters, you can define sentiment analysis as well.
Yeah.
Right? And you will have in other properties here on the data that you're receiving after transcription, you will have information about like, is the person happy or is the person sad? And you can use that as well to maybe tune response or react to that. So
and you also get apart from that, you also get the confidence level. So it's if someone is talking in a way that it's hard for Deepgram to understand, you also can account for that because the confidence level will be low.
So we are getting this caption, and then we are checking if there was something. So if like, because there may be sound, but it could be noise, and it's not speech. So in that case, if it's just a noise that is recorded and sent to the browser and to the Deepgram, the caption will be empty, right? And we are checking for that, and we are setting the audio to just null. And then if it's not empty, so something was, like as you said, captured, and all those 2 criteria were met, that it's final and speech final, then we can send our text to the LLM in this case.
We need to do it here. And there is also some other code about keeping the connection alive with the server, right, related to Deepgram. So I'll just leave it, not change it. So let's keep it, and maybe, yeah.
I'm not seeing your code on the screen here, but doesn't matter. I can imagine it in a way.
You can have it in your brilliant mind.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh. Code.
Wow.
Exactly. So that's the that's the code. So now we need to have this like a route, right?
Yeah, we need to send it to like you said, to Groq.
Yeah.
So we are getting this caption. I don't know why they called it this caption. Why is it let?
Yeah, that's a boilerplate. Maybe we should issue a pull request to.
Yeah. So we want to send it to Deepgram.
Yes.
Sorry, to Groq. To do that, because this is the client component in Next.js, so it's all happening on the client side because we need to access microphone, so it has to be on the client. So we need to use. We could actually probably use a server action as well, but we can also use just a route, a fetch route, and that's also cool. I don't know which one do you prefer.
I think I would go with the fetch approach.
Yeah.
It would be easier. I think it'd be more clear, maybe for the audience to just see, because it's just triggering some, like sending a post request, and with the caption, or the transcription rather.
Yep.
So it's just a basic fetch. We put it under API respond, right?
So,
that's the
basically. Yeah. Copilot generated all the code for me.
Yeah, it's maybe kind of old school with all those dense, but it's good
enough. That's the job.
You can you can remove localhost. You can just use the path name.
Right.
And yeah.
So we can, it's API submit. Okay.
Yeah, it could be submit. And in the code we created before, it's respond, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a route. It would be a post route, so very typical Next.js.
So let me make sure we are doing this correctly. Method post, application JSON, and we are sending caption in the body. Okay.
Yeah.
So export const post equals async.
Yes. So we are getting a request. Yeah, it's exactly. We are.
And the body is are just typecasted for now.
Yeah,
because it's just for the purpose of the live coding, I'll just typecast it. Usually, you probably want to validate this with some kind of library, or maybe in such a simple case, just write it yourself. But for our use case today, it's good enough.
Yeah, and
what do we do next?
Yeah, so next we need Groq provides SDK. So we could use another fetch, but in this case, maybe it would be easier to just use the Groq SDK. So there's Groq-SDK, a package.
Is it installed already? No.
In this code, no, but it should be Groq-SDK. And we can import a default object, which is Groq. From there, initialize it. It's a class, so we create an instance.
Okay, so let's import Groq from Groq SDK.
Exactly, and then you need to initialize it just before the new Groq.
New Groq,
and that's all, because it takes the
values from the environmental variables, right?
Yeah, and if they have the proper name.
I have them
already.
Probably.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I should have them.
If not, we will.
I will show everyone my secret code again.
I think that they are my secrets, but
all right.
Yeah, please don't show them. Yeah, and now we can. So Groq is compatible with OpenAI. So
it has a few different functions there. Which one should we use? Chat, probably?
Exactly. Chat and completions.
Completions and create.
Yeah. So which is exactly as, and then you provide messages, which is an array. An object with messages. Yeah, which is an array. And there is like an object, which is a role. in our case, it'd be user and actual content. Yeah, and here, instead of just providing the actual caption,
Model. We also need a model, obviously.
yeah, after, sorry, yes, it's a model, and it's llama 3-8b-8192, which is a smaller and faster.
Yeah, I think we already
model.
said that, but the names of the models that can be used here are on the Groq website, so you can just look it up.
I think you have the TypeScript.
Not
no,
not
okay.
here.
Because
in case of OpenAI, there
Yeah.
is TypeScript like suggestions, but not here.
So it's just a string. Okay, so that's and here we should, in content, we cannot pass the caption. We should also provide some instruction how to treat this. So, for example, what we did is that we said, what we said is that respond to the following query as a human would do and be super concise.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Let's do this.
So respond to the following query
to the following query as a human would do, and be concise.
Exactly. And this way we could have like this conversation rather than LLM generating like a huge.
You can adjust it to your needs.
Exactly.
You could ask it to pretend to be, I don't know, a call center,
of course,
person from call center or something.
But this is the part that I think requires some like
tuning
and
basically.
Tinkering.
Nice word. I'm still learning my English. And now we need to return the response. Couldn't be easier.
Yeah, but before, but wait, because we need to return voice, right?
Yeah, but I was thinking maybe we can return text first and show
if it
what's the text response
Good idea.
is.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can just console log it, I don't know.
And I just wanted to add that Groq is so fast that up to this point, we will be around 200, 300 milliseconds, right?
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, if we log that, but it's up to this point, it's very fast.
So similar, if you know OpenAI is similar to it, there are also different choices that you can have. You can ask Groq or OpenAI to generate multiple responses at once, and you can pick one. But in this case, by default, I think it's only one. So we only have one element in this array. So we just return the content of the first element of the choices array.
Yeah.
And we return it back to here. And this should already work. You should console log whatever the bot answers.
Yeah, it's not the prettiest code.
No.
I wonder if you select it and ask the copilot to like make it to transfer it to like a async await approach. Will it work?
Please don't make me do this.
Okay, so maybe yeah.
Let's get back to where is it? Yeah, let's run it again. Hi.
I think it's not. Could you refresh because it not always captures?
Yeah. Hi. I forgot to open the console.
It worked. Tell me a joke. So I think, yeah, it works pretty well. What are you checking?
The console logs for what the model is generating.
But it's showing here on the screen.
No, it's just a transcription of what you are saying.
Yeah.
It's not what the bot responds.
Right, exactly. We did something.
Okay, so maybe one more time. Tell me a joke. Why won't you listen to me?
Yeah, it works.
We have this funny situation because every time I'm trying to speak to the machine, it doesn't listen to me, and whenever Kuba does it, it listens. I have no idea what's going on.
Maybe
you're the king of the machines. I don't know.
Okay, but it works, right? We send the audio, we transcribe it to text, we like send the text to the LLM, Groq. We got the response, and now we need to change this response to voice. Right. So the final step.
How do we do that?
Yeah. So again, we can use directly the SDK from Deepgram. So there's like a Deepgram/SDK with the monkey at the beginning. So for those who are not from Poland, in Polish, the ampersand sign is
It's
called
not ampersand. It's at.
at. Sorry, it's called monkey for some reason.
Okay, what do we import from here? Just Deepgram?
Yeah, it's exactly. It's no, it's create client. Sorry, it's named function.
Okay, so
create
it's
client.
like a SAP. So it's Deepgram equals
create
exactly.
client, and then you just pass the env, which is directly. It's not an object. So we just passed process.
Oh yeah, so the copilot was wrong in this case. So what's the name of that?
Deepgram _ API _ key. Exactly, that's what's proposed.
Okay. Typically, you would want to validate that, but in this case,
fail
just
fast,
do a-
right? With an if or
Yeah.
something. We showed that in other lives.
Yeah, in most of the lives. So,
So I think
let's not
if
focus
you're
on that.
watching us, that should be yeah. And now we can just run this. There is like on this
Speak.
exactly. There is a speak property or field, and it has a method called request.
Wait. It creates the speak client.
No. You can chain. So you do speak without. It's not an invocation. It's just a
I'm
field.
dumb. Okay.
And then request, and then you provide two objects here. The first one is just text, which is the actual response from the LLM, and as an object. Yeah. And the second object is the configuration. And again, we need to define a model here, which is the most important part, I would say.
Yeah, but it's a different model.
It's a
because
different
this
model.
one is text to speech.
It's text to speech model, TTS. Yeah.
So what's the name of the model in this case?
Aura. Deepgram has a pretty dash Asteria, which is the name of the person, right? You can have different voices, and then dash the language. And
Language?
yeah, the EN. No, EN.
Oh no. Sorry.
No worries.
So it could be PL for Polish, right? And
it could be, but we could maybe check that. But last time I checked, for now, this model is only available in English. So if you want to change speech to text in Deepgram, you have like a lot of languages. But if you want to change text to speech, right now, I think the only one is English. But maybe something changed or just...
Okay, we also have some other options like bitrate and sample rate that we won't adjust, but you can adjust the quality of the audio. You can make it better, so maybe a bit slower. I also tried setting the bitrate as low as possible, so the voice was barely understandable. Actually.
Yeah, and all that will impact the latency, right? It would probably, if you increase that, it would probably like increase latency as well. But what we could do here is to set encoding and container as well, what you proposed, because by default it's just I think
it's by default I think it's MP3.
MP3, okay.
Yeah,
but we could do better, right? Than MP3.
I think so. It was suggested that the OGG should work better for this use case, but I'm not sure.
When we switched from MP3, I think, to OGG, it was noticeably worst. Like you could hear
the quality,
but it wasn't like something bothering. It was just.
Did I get it right? It's container OGG and encoding opus.
Exactly.
Okay. Okie dokie.
And now it will return this response, and there's another important part here.
Yeah, because we could.
Yeah, we could return this response, but we don't want to return it as is. We can return it as a stream, which is very important here. So the idea is that when you return it as a stream to the browser can start playing that file even if it hasn't received the whole file, right? That's the idea.
Maybe.
Yeah, so we return a stream here.
Yeah.
And if we get a stream, yeah, we could also get headers, but I think you don't need to because we are not using headers.
But I am. I don't know.
You are, okay. So you can return both, yeah? There are promises, and then you can just pass the stream directly to the web API response, right? And the headers as well, yeah. And that's I would say, in the most optimal way, at least when we are talking about HTTP, because in a moment we'll be talking about other transports, which are more efficient, but for HTTP, it's, I think, the best what we can do. And that's all. And I think it should work. So it's, I would say,
well, we need
simple.
to also do something with the response on the client side.
Yeah, of course.
Because right now we're just console logging it. And we can still console log it.
We could console log it, but I'm not sure if that's important. We can just directly
let's see.
It will be bytes.
Hello. Yeah. So we can see it returns some kind of bytes.
Some like
and we see that
garbage.
Maybe, I'm not sure if you can see this, but it's opus.
The header of the file, right? Or
so it's clearly an audio file. So let's do something about this.
And that should be very simple. We can just, there is the audio tag, right? And we can just set it.
Yeah. So, but in order to set it, we need to, or maybe let's try with the audio tag first. So let's put it maybe here.
And we need, we need URL, right?
We need URL, but we also, I think, we need some other props.
Like we need
autoplay, I think. No?
Yes, autoplay. We could hide this because we don't need to. So we're just adding the player that will start playing automatically and as the response is streaming. But we don't want to show that, so that you have just like a feeling of.
What are
so there is autoplay, right?
Yeah.
And class hidden.
Yeah, we can do that, of course.
Yeah. Class name hidden. And it's not URL, but it's source, like with the image.
Yeah, of course. Wait, it's not source.
SRC.
So.
Yeah, and we need to now adapt this blob. We are receiving like a binary, like a stream of bytes, right? And we need to do something about that.
Yeah, so let me just for quick housekeeping create this as a state variable.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly it. And maybe we could change that to. Okay, it doesn't really matter here. It's okay. So here we can just we can use this like a built-in thing. There's like URL object, right?
Yeah.
Or class.
The change that is change the JSON to blob because we want the binary data.
Exactly.
And now you set URL
all major. I mean with. Exactly. Create object URL. That's exactly it. And it returns exactly something which could be fed like a put into audio tag. Yeah.
This is also, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure this is also not the most optimal way to do it. But we tried to gain some very minor speed up. And we spend a lot of time on this and to stream this actually to the.
We could shave, I mean, maybe 100, maybe 200 milliseconds.
No, I don't think so. Probably not even that much.
So
with short responses.
Yeah. So the idea was to like consume the stream in a more efficient way, but
it requires some more like lower level APIs, and you have to actually consume the bytes that can come through as they come.
So let's see if it works.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, please go ahead and ask your question. Go ahead and ask your question.
Could you tell me a joke?
Here's a classic one. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything.
That was pretty fast. That's longer.
Styling, yeah, I got it. Sorry about. Please go ahead and ask your question, and I'll respond with.
Yeah, so
concise answer as a.
So it depends. I think sometimes maybe we are rate limited, but if it's fast, it's almost as.
Yeah, when it's fast, it's fast.
Yeah, when it's fast, it's fast. It feels pretty natural, I would say. Yeah, so I think
it also could be because we are like the computer and the internet is doing a lot of things.
HDMI.
So yeah, I don't know.
For some reason.
Yeah, space, energy.
So let's maybe summarize this. So we use two SDKs, the Groq one, which is compatible with OpenAI. So if you don't want to use Groq, you want to use OpenAI directly, which is now faster. You can also try that. And you don't have to change anything. You just replace the Groq with OpenAI and the rest, and the route would stay the same. And then we have the Deepgram SDK, which we use to change text to speech. And then the boilerplate comes with the already pre-configured speech to text, right?
Sorry, I wanted to interrupt, but
yeah.
No. You just said what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
The boilerplate.
And there's like a lot of parameters that you can play with, the model, the type of model, the language as well. And all those like things we mentioned. There's the part about emotions we haven't like touched. We just briefly discussed it, but you can
sentiment
analysis and all that. And now, so this and if you
because we could actually use the sentiment analysis to analyze the emotions in Deepgram and then provide this as additional context to Groq. So the Groq knows that you're sad or you're angry, for example.
Exactly, and then this way you could like have a different answer basically.
Yeah.
So now we have the basic structure of that, and I wanted just to say that if you could revert to the most recent commit, you added this like latency measurements, right? So we are displaying with the code we are going to share with you. You'll be seeing at each step what's the latency.
Yeah.
And from our like testing for the last 2 weeks, I would say, and the hackathon, we were able to like have on average around 1 second of latency on average, which is pretty good. And then we were investigating other transports, right? Because now we are using HTTP, but if we could do something else.
Yeah, HTTP is, well, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good, yeah. Still, 1 second is, I think we'll see. I don't see the comments right now, but I hope we can discuss this with our viewers. But we have two other options for the transport. We could use WebSockets, and which is something you implemented at the hackathon. And I think it was much faster, right?
Yeah, because what we did, we actually, instead of using the HTTP, we used WebSockets.
Yeah,
in there. It was a bit faster because the communication happened like both ways via our, but it was also more complex because we had to set up the server.
Exactly.
That's not quite compatible with Vercel, for example.
Because it's something that needs to.
It has to be stateful and run all the time.
It's going to be a Lambda. And what's important is that maybe just for the record, with WebSockets, you don't pay this like a penalty of starting a connection each time, right? Because with HTTP, you have this like.
It's very hard to measure with HTTP 2 or 3 because sometimes it's also like preheated.
Yeah, but in theory, it could be slightly faster
yes.
if you already open and like you just send the data, and we observe something like that. And we also have seen other people using WebRTC.
Yeah, and it's
for the transport.
In theory or on demos, it's way faster.
It's
like
way faster.
Half what we have here.
Yeah, so it's 500 milliseconds on average. Yeah. Some people reported that. And 500 is like almost exactly what OpenAI showed. And it's possible right now, today. And it's kind of mind-blowing because this is still the like older approach because we haven't today talked about speech language models, right?
Yeah,
that's the new things.
Yeah,
but would be faster.
The project that you are talking about, was that PipeCut?
Yeah. So I have. Do you have those? So there's this project called PipeCut, and it's in Python. Yeah. And the idea is to have like a framework or like a framework that like a boilerplate or like a template for building those voice agents with everything that's already set up and all those like things related to performance and like latency are already like well designed and well placed, and you can just focus on the actual building the actual agent. So
it's built by people right? From Daily.
I think
as far as I
it's
remember.
the CEO of Daily.
Okay.
So it's pretty.
Well, it has 8 contributors, so
Yeah, but I think the person that, if you show the contributors the most, which is also pretty crazy for Silicon Valley, that a CEO is super technical, and no, it's not. Sorry, the CEO is this guy, I think, the fifth one. That's the so no, I was wrong, but I've seen that person tweet.
Yeah, but they are definitely using Daily, right?
Yeah.
Daily is another startup related to AI that also sponsored the hackathon that we went to, and they allow they're building like a tool around WebRTC
For video.
Yeah, of course.
So it's voice and video in a way that you can like create those. Something we'll be showing during the course. You can create an agent that connects to Zoom. Not only listens to the conversation, but can also see your facial.
It could, at least in theory, analyze.
Yeah,
but mostly the voice.
Mostly the voice, but also like the image. And they are by default, I think, Daily is using WebRTC.
Yes.
For video, because video is much larger than audio, right?
They're also using 11 Labs instead of Deepgram in this project, but you could use either of them.
So I've been testing for this project we showed. I've been also testing 11 Labs, and for the
maybe for those of you who don't know, the 11 Labs is the Polish unicorn startup that are specializing in text-to-speech and speech-to-text.
Yeah. Also pretty interesting. So it could be a good exercise to maybe change from Deepgram to 11 Labs. I had some problems because I was working on this voice chat for a friend that it responds in French. And I was thinking that 11 Labs would be good at text-to-speech in French, but it generates some strange things. So maybe
your French is not that good.
Maybe. Or no, I mean, I was like showing this to my friend, and he said like it's kind of strange sounding French for a French person.
Either way, the Pipecut project, it's in Python, but it has tons of examples here. Even if you go to foundational, they actually walk you step by step through the process of building it. So you can actually understand how it works, and you can adjust it to your needs. And you're starting with just a thing that says one word, and then go through all of it.
Yeah.
And you get to I don't know, to interruptible model or bots arguing the example. There are tons of, and it's just one folder. It's just the foundational. There are more like real life examples here, and it's really easy to run too.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about this, about voice. I think it's really, especially in the context what OpenAI showed. And as I said at the beginning, I think OpenAI still is working on the capacity to treat all those potential voice requests with the infrastructure they have. I think they will be fine, but wonder when.
However, in our code base, in our demo, we observed that the voice is not really that slower than the LLM operation. That's weird, actually. It makes you wonder.
Yeah. It's not like
transcription than text to speech. Well, it's not that slower.
Yeah, you would expect. Yeah, the intuition says otherwise, right?
Yeah,
it's not like you would imagine it as but so it requires some maybe playing with, like testing what's possible and getting this intuition about how all those tools behave together. But I'm also super excited about this new era. So people are, as you said at the beginning, it's pretty funny, they're inventing new terms or new acronyms. So up till now, we were talking about LLMs, large language models, but now there is this new term like speech language models, like SLM, right? Which Gazelle, the one I showed, is like an example, one of the first examples.
So I understand the joke now, because I saw someone on Twitter asking what's the acronym for small language models now, if the speech takes the
yeah, exactly. But because there is it's another topic, but when we were at one of the hackathons, Microsoft released this
Small language model. Yeah.
There's like a very small language which behaves.
Phi something, right?
Yeah, Phi free.
Phi free.
Which is like PHI free.
Yeah, Greek letter.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing. But it's another topic. It's like super powerful and still very small. And yeah, so there's like this discussion about the models that can live on your like phone, right?
Yeah, we'll see what Apple shows on WWDC in June.
Yeah. But back to voice. So yeah, we have a lot of tools now, and there's like a lot of positive buzz or a lot of excitement around voice. And yeah, so what we show you today is something that you can build right now, and you have the capacity. So you have the tools that you can use today to build those things, which are not that far away from what.
But also they are
OpenAI
very cheap. Actually,
yeah, they are.
I've been running on my like the bonus credits that we got during the hackathon from Deepgram. I've been running on them for a month and still not paying.
I wanted to, because today I seen this interesting post by a friend, if I may call, or someone we know,
acquaintance.
Overment.
And that's a friend.
And and he wrote this post about how much he pays for OpenAI. And he like it was very nicely described, like what happens. Like sometimes you need to send several queries, so it's getting like cheaper, but it's still not that cheap if you like do some substantial work and you're doing it all day, like each day. I mean, so yeah, it depends. But as you say, we got 200 credits, and I'm at 119 now, and I've been doing like tests the whole 3 weeks.
Yeah,
so it's
Grzegorz Palat asked a question. Isn't self-hosting, it was a long time ago, isn't self-hosting Llama 70B like 5K a month? It could be. I don't know. What model did we use in here actually?
Yeah, it was Llama 3, but not 70B.
Yeah, we used just 8B. Yeah, so the one that you can actually run on your local machine, it works even on my old Mac. So, and it works pretty well.
So yeah, it could be very expensive because not only expensive, but expensive in a way that if you want to have it run, like for the inference to be fast, you have to like have it.
You have to buy a server from Groq.
I think that's actually not that bad idea, because Groq is building those pipelines specifically for inference, right? And all other approaches are like trying to bend certain like computation model to
architecture
to this new, let's say, thing which is required. So you need to run a lot of computation in parallel, and this requires a lot of compute power.
Yeah,
and this is even more important for audio, right? Because with
audio, and then for video,
and then for video,
even more.
It's much more data to analyze. The files are larger. Not to mention that one day maybe we'll be sending 4K or something like that, which is like huge files, right?
Also, now I have this thought: it's much harder to cache the audio, the audio or video, because the algorithms are not for caching are not that. I mean,
on top of that,
it's just harder. And Alt 890 says that you could use server sent events for input and HTTP for output in hybrid mode.
Yeah, interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah, I actually never, to be honest, I never used server sent events. I mean, I read about them, but never had the need.
Yeah, I was once, when I was working in a bank, we were doing this like currency display.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah,
when you don't expect any input, you just want to update something.
Exactly. You don't need to send anything. You just expect constantly changing in tickers.
Yeah, so you don't need to maintain the WebSockets connection.
Exactly. And the server sent events are ideal for that. So this could be good. I think it would require some testing. I wonder how much latency you can gain, or like how much you can reduce it.
Or lose.
Yeah. So maybe we could test it. But I think the most...
No, I'm really excited about trying WebRTC.
Yeah,
but it also requires
requires
a separate server, and a stronger one than for WebSockets, for example.
I think it's the most So if someone, this question wasn't maybe asked, but if you ask, for example, what's the next step? I think on one side you can start building using what we showed, and maybe consider WebRTC and do this, and you can have pretty nice voice agent. And on the other hand, I would look into those like new models, those speech models that get speech directly.
Until OpenAI releases it, and I heard some rumors that it's not going to be soon to general public.
For me, I also feel that it won't be soon because, as we said, again, it requires a lot of computation. And I wonder because today on Twitter I proposed to Groq that maybe they should try to take Gazelle and run it because they have amazing inference capacity, and I think that they could do something great with here.
It's funny that you say that because you asked them and they followed me, so maybe they got it mixed up, you know.
Anyway, I think
I'm trending now.
yeah, but regarding these questions from Gregor, I think instead of buying something like custom, using Groq Cloud, and if they support this like open model, because they plan to support open models, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering about Bielik, the model,
the Polish one.
Yeah,
yeah, maybe at some point it could be also trained on the audio. We should maybe talk to Sebastian, right? It was. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. I don't see more questions today.
Yeah. If you have any question, asked. And during the course, we'll be talking a lot more about this. We'll be building actually a bot that connects with Zoom.
Yeah.
And does it interactively, so to say. So.
And the idea is to adapt because everything is changing so fast.
So maybe we won't be building that.
I think we will be building that. But it's just the question: what we will be using? What would be the most adapted or the best approach to use? Because we want to provide you with the most recent techniques and methods. So just a matter of tools, and we want to be up to date. So we are just thinking how to do this so you are on the edge of AI. Yeah.
Someone's asking, what tech level of people are we targeting for this course?
Interesting question. I think someone asked us on email, but we are still. So I would say this course is for everyone.
However, you need to be a developer probably. You need to know how to.
I'm not sure because
how to develop things.
What we've seen in Silicon Valley, right? There was a lot of people who were completely new to programming, like especially younger people.
Yeah.
And they were super motivated.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you have a point.
So if someone is super motivated, and now I think it's a good time to start because starting programming is different now than
it's easier. Probably thanks to Copilot and ChatGPT.
Exactly, that's my point. I wouldn't say it's easier. I would say that it's different. Yeah, it's just a different mindset you have to. Because yesterday we had this like there was this event in Warsaw Aula. And there was this person talking about that if you are not using, it was Tomasz, right? Tomasz Kolinko.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not using as a programmer Copilot or something else,
AI in general,
you will be replaced. And I agree with that. You have to use it, and you have to use it. You have to know how to use it well.
Yep.
It's just about completion. There's like a lot of things, and we will be also touching on that. And there's like a lot of interesting alternatives to Copilot. We met with one of the founder
of Continue.dev with Tyler.
We will be talking about that during the course. And so they are building is kind of like an open source Copilot, let's say. And it's more than that because they are analyzing not only what you write, but they also can see like in between what happens in between the changes.
That's the promise.
that's the promise, and I think that to some extent they are doing that. And that could be also so. General idea is that you can have more context of what happens, and you don't have to share it with some third-party company like GitHub, right?
Yeah, of course. You can run it locally.
You can run it locally, and you can like create your own like let's say Copilot, which is adapted to you as a person,
or your company, for example.
Or your company, exactly. In a company context, it's even more interesting. And there's another one, called Super Maven.
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because it's the promise here is that it's super fast. So with Copilot, you have this latency again.
Yeah,
and I would say before trying Super Maven, Copilot was good enough for me. But after trying Super Maven, I was amazed. It's so fast. It's just you start writing and it's like almost immediately filling. So the sensation of a flow is even greater. And if it's even like 100 milliseconds of difference, it makes a difference. And I wonder
Yeah.
if Copilot will be able to catch up to that. So I highly recommend that.
I
And
also had this thought. It's a bit of a, I don't want to digress, but maybe for a bit.
Yeah.
I had this thought some time ago that before AI boom, there were a lot of people who were developers who were ashamed of the fact that they didn't remember something, ashamed
Yeah.
of using Google, for example, especially junior programmers.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not
something
sure
like
if you've met such people,
Mhm.
or they felt bad because of using Google. And right now, if you're not using Google and not using AI, I mean,
Mhm.
what are you even doing? The change of mindset is like 180 degrees, right?
Yeah, you have to. You can do so many things much faster with those tools, and there's so many of them, and it's changing so fast. So
Yeah.
it's also difficult. It may be difficult. So regarding maybe because that was like a long response.
Yeah.
But I would say that we require, on one hand, we require that you already programmed in a way.
Mhm.
That could be good.
Something.
But if you haven't done any programming in the past,
But you really want to.
But you really want to, and you're super motivated. What we've seen in certain people,
We've seen that in
you
the
will
past.
be fine, I think. Like doing this course, you just have to have time, and because before in the previous courses, a lot of people maybe not they weren't complaining, but they were saying that there was a lot of materials, and if they had more time, it would be easier, right? So the time constraint was kind of like a factor here.
No,
but,
I mean, from my experience, the time constraint is never a problem. Really, it's just motivation. How long is the promo code valid?
I think Bartek is not
Till the end.
till the end.
Till the course starts.
Okay, so it's like a couple of
At least
2 weeks.
At
2
least
weeks.
a couple of days, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of days. And how it's different from AI devs?
From Brave courses.
Yeah, as well.
It's funny because we are actually sitting in the Brave courses studio right now.
Yeah, so
it's I would say it's completely different. I mean, it's more like these courses complement each other rather than like replace.
I think it's like sitting with you on the table, you know. Like your course is like sitting with you here. Like it's very cozy and very about coding and very programming with you.
yeah,
every
that's
day.
that's something. Yeah. So as Bartek, I'm not sure if that's people hear us, but hear you. But as you say, it's more about being cozy and more. So I think AI
Sitting with us, like pair programming with us together,
Yes.
and more about coding than not coding.
But I would say the major difference is that when we are thinking about that is that AI now is entering every domain, and it's not no longer about like, is it of course about AI or not AI? Is it about like where you can use AI? So AI Devs is amazing course. I recommend everyone to like check it out. It focuses on like a fundamentals, like on building great stuff. And we wanted to
build products.
Approach it from the maybe this Next.js angle, right? Show you something which is like how you, as a coder that has familiar with Next.js, you can like amplify your skills
how can you use
with AI.
your web development skills to build upon this with AI, basically,
and build, as you say, products. So this mindset of like an indie hacker. So
or startuppers.
So AI, many people say that AI will make that companies will be smaller and smaller. And yesterday, it's funny, also Tomasz Kolinko mentioned that now you have startups that are run by 2 and 3 people, and they are much more like capable with this new mindset of using AI,
of course,
than companies that like a year ago were being run by 10 or 15 people, right? Because that's the factor of so you need to know how to use the AI, and we want to like show you in this course. We want to just show you how to build, like be pragmatic, how to build with Next.js 5, maybe more projects, and maybe some of them could be used as a starter points
for real products.
For real products that could be then, if you have an idea, like we'll be brainstorming different things. We'll be proposing our ideas, like very simple one.
Yeah, I would say imagine a hackathon every week.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like a hackathon with AI.
But different areas of AI every week, new hackathon, so to say.
And we also want to be, we try to be as I said, close to the changes that happen right now in Silicon Valley based on the trip we did, and we are planning maybe to try again.
Come back.
Yeah. So that when each week would be hopefully something that is the most recent developments. You would be like exposed to the most recent developments that happened. That's our goal at least.
So hope that answered the question. If it doesn't, then hit us with an email.
Yeah.
We probably will answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sometimes have trouble answering emails. Sorry about that.
So I think that would be
it. I think that concludes the live. Thank you very much, and see you on the next one, and join our course 0to1ai.com and watch our interviews on YouTube.
Yeah, there's 7 or 6 still to be published, right?
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for today. See ya. Bye.